Item 7, amendments to bylaws relating to promenades. We have before us a report by the Senior Head of Regeneration Planning Assets. I call upon Councillor Wallace to propose this report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And at this stage, I move to propose this document.
Very much. Can I have a second, please? Councillor Clark, thank you very much indeed. I therefore open this up to the floor for people to make their comments. I am corrected. We had the public speakers first. Okay. Would it like to be Felicity Goodson or Stephen Kitto first? Right. Okay.
My name is Stephen Kitto, and I have a small bicycle business with a website that attracts people who want to cycle around Eastbourne and its environs. I've been told that there are about 10,000 new dwellings around the harbour. Through my bike business, I know that there are lots of people who have bikes who live there and who dearly love them, but they may not live there, but they come there frequently. And they would dearly love to be able to ride into the town centre without having to face the perils of Royal Parade or Seaside. And the stretch of promenade near Fort Fun has been shared successfully for many years, and I've seen no evidence that persuade me that the promenade is attractive to tearaways. It's the cyclists whose lives and limbs are at much greater risk than the pedestrians when the former are forced onto roads by anachronistic regulations keeping them off pavements and promenades. Statistics show that hundreds of cyclists are being killed on Britain's roads each year, and that seems to be acceptable to the road lobby. I tell every customer that when they put their right arm out to signal their indication to go right, that it's very likely that a car or a van will still come past. It happens to me several times a week, and this makes me particularly circumspect about putting my 3.5-year-old grandson on the back of my bike. And whether I put him on the back of my bike or in a trailer or any form of taking him on a bike on the roads of Eastern Eastbourne, I feel that sometimes a risk too far. And with the lack of a safe cycle route past the pier sends a clear anti-bike message to visitors to the town, which has, I believe, a considerable economic cost. Many people wanting bikes for short periods in the town are affluent, whether they are British or foreign, and are amazed at the density of traffic and lack of dedicated cycle lanes. This month alone, I've had 3 groups of Dutch customers, all of whom came by boat or yacht. Trying to remember 8.5 tons of one of the boats, so you get an idea of the chap's money. But all came to Eastbourne on their yachts and were amazed by the lack of continuous cycle lanes, particularly ones that run beside the sea. So that, in a nutshell, is what I have to say. Thanks very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kitto. May I now ask Felicity Goodson to come forward?
Hello, my name is Felicity Goodson, and I'm a member of this Eastbourne Seafront campaign group. I'm a mammal. No, I'm not one of those men that speed around in lycra, who tend to stay on the roads. I'm a mum with a son in tow and an animal on board my bicycle. I have a little dog. I cycled all around Eastbourne for the whole 11 years that I've lived here, and at cost to my life, I have to say. Just the other day I was cycling along the Seafront Road, outside the York Hotel. I had a taxi driver close behind me, and as I came near the pier, he hooted at me, and fortunately got stopped at the light, so I popped up and popped down my sunglasses and said, "Why did you hoot at me?" He said, "You're in the middle of the road." I said, "No, I'm just in the middle of my side of the road because of the parked cars. I have to allow doors width. Otherwise, I could get knocked off my bicycle." I said, when I was pregnant, that's exactly what happened, and I went flying. Fortunately, my son is here for me to be able to tell the tale. He was mortified and sorry not to have realised the facts. Now, I went on a fabulous ride the other day. It was a cultural ride set up by the Town Art Gallery and Bespoke, and we invited many councillors and town planners to come on it to see how splendid it can be to be able to cycle from Eastbourne to the Delaware, from the town of Delaware and on to the Joburg Gallery as a cultural trail. Great potential for tourism, great potential for highlighting our splendid seaside town. Of course, it was hairy and dangerous as far as the Eastbourne section, but as soon as you hit Cooten Beach and Bexhill, where they have far less space, 26 of us mingled with pedestrians who were quite happy for us to manoeuvre around them, and there was a great feeling of bonhomie amongst all of us. We got to Hastings, which was even more crowded, but still no bad feeling. I want to say that cyclists, yes, you get bad cyclists. Yes, you get bad car drivers. Yes, you get bad pedestrians. That is a human nature. Human beings can be very inconsiderate, but also they can be splendidly considerate and work together to create a safe environment for us to reduce the particle pollution in the air. Red rain over Eastbourne in March went off the Richter scale. That is particle pollution. People were told to stay indoors. People were told with lung conditions and with asthma and the aged to stay inside. How can we reduce this? Comprehensive network of cycle paths. How can we reduce congestion in our town, which is increasing with all the buildings that are going on? Construction of cycle paths. This will enable all people, pedestrians, motorists, to have more freedom on the roads, on the pavements, on the shared youth paths. We will end up with a comprehensive, cohesive town. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Wilson. I will now open this up to the floor. Councillor Redborough.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I understand. I think, and I agree with what's been said, and I do agree that more dedicated space to encourage the growth and cycling in Eastbourne is absolutely essential. It's a strategy that should be built side by side with a good walking scheme, good safe walking strategy. And that's all part of the health and safety guidelines handed down in 2012 by government. But I do think that sometimes some of the comments there is a bubble, because we shared a walk this afternoon where cyclists on the prom nearly knocked over a child. We asked two cyclists to stop because it was a no cycling zone and were told quite in unpleasant terms to go somewhere. Now, when the first scheme was mooted, I did write to councillors up on 14 occasions. Wasn't elected then. I asked for information that his cabinet might have learned from other towns that have implemented similar schemes, and just to understand what lessons could be learned in terms of best practice and if there's any mistakes so that we get it right. I didn't get a reply then, and I do get a nervous feeling from the radio interview that Councillor Wallace gave that he wants to see something that is going to be shared space and self-regulating. The time that I wrote to councillors at Bournemouth was at the forefront of the prom debate, and they were suffering quite a few injuries to pedestrians, and even their deputy mayor was run over by a cyclist. So much so were the problems that they now introduced two dedicated cycle schemes, which I think is what the government and what NICE are actually saying. Let's invest in dedicated safe cycle routes. It is always about the on-road cyclist, I agree. So I would have to ask, what exactly will be recommended to county to suggest that we're going to monitor this and to actually implement something like CCTV and to take on fixed penalty notices so that it stops these people continually reoffending. We know that if the recommendation goes across and it becomes shared space, that's against the guidelines issued by NICE. It's dismissed by the Cycling Embassy in the UK, who state that pedestrians feel intimidated and unsafe in these areas and stop using them. This would have a negative impact on residents, our health, and I think on visitor numbers to Eastbourne. It's also reinforced by Lord Holmes 3 or 4 weeks ago, who asked for a moratorium on any shared space schemes, because he reported that in pedestrian areas where cyclists are introduced, up to 35% of pedestrians stop using those zones. Also, in any future safe walking strategy, the prom would not actually be considered fit for purpose in that strategy. In talking to Royal National Institute of Blind, they would consider this type of decision to be institutionalised discrimination under the Disabled Discrimination Act of 2010. Our own Eastbourne Blind Society had a chat and said they would like to know specifically what county and what we would be doing in terms of recommending the safety for their members, because they believe this would prevent them walking on the prom, which is unfair and would adversely affect their health and in fact their mental health. I would also ask that why would we go ahead with this scheme now when we've got a future seafront strategy to formulate alongside a scrutiny review? And that scrutiny review should be taken in and will be taken in safe walking strategies and safe cycling strategies as outlined in 2012 and 2013. And both of these, I think, offer a perfect opportunity to present a plan which delivers the best outcome for all concerned. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I call upon other speakers. Who's going to leap?
Thank you very much indeed. And I'd just like to say as well, thank you to the speakers for putting your views across, because it is, I have to say, it's not an interest I need to care, but I am a cyclist, I'm a mammal. I go out with my lycra now and again cycling on the roads. Yeah, it's not a pretty cycling thing. But there's different types of cycling. You know, I like to go on the roads, I go quite quick, but also there is leisure cycling as well. And cycling is something that polarises views. It's one of those few things, you know, most people can find sort of a middle way, but actually when you speak to people about cycling, they're either pretty much pro-cycling and, you know, it's we've got to go ahead with this, we've got to do this, we've got to get more things off our roads and everything else, which is something that I agree with. And the anti-cyclists, cyclists are a danger, they're a nuisance, they're actually, if some of us didn't cycle to work every day, there'd be more cars on the road. So I do take your point there. Getting onto the paper, because it's about the paper that's written, rather than some of the detail sort of underneath. It's not a great paper, but that's not in any way blaming the officers of Eastbourne Borough Council. Unfortunately, it's some of the process that DCLG have put them through. And I would like to actually thank our officers for the time that they've had the extra time and workload that they've had to endure through some of the stipulations from DCLG. So I'd like to point out, I am a keen cyclist, I'm not anti-cycling. I do agree as well that roads can be dangerous. Several times I've been knocked over at Sluice Lane, which you go near Cooden. It's quite narrow, that is actually a proper cycle route, number 21 I think. And it's quite, you know, it can be quite dangerous. But we also have to think about other people using that space. We have to think about pedestrians too. And we have to think about the vulnerable users of that space. Sometimes it's not always glaringly obvious. You know, on my bike on the Cooper Trail, a bell. Not everyone can hear. Not everyone can hear you. There are other things as well. As a cyclist, I use an app called Strava, which is like it's like a social media app for cyclists. And what you do is you go out and you record your ride. It's good for fitness purposes. You can try and lower your times. But that does then bring out a competition in some local cyclists. And no doubt, if the seafront was opened up to cycling, they will, because it's the cycling routes on Strava they're put down by cyclists using that app. And there are people that try different times of day, they certainly wouldn't get through on the airborne weekend, but different times of day, try and go there as quick as possible to get the quickest time. I know, I used to drive myself, I've seen it happen. Just on this paper, we do have cycling from Fisherman's Green to Sutton Hub and from Wishdale upwards. My view is that there is no need to lift this bylaw. What I do think we need is actually we need a better strategy. I think we need a better strategy from the county council. I think the county council can help there with dedicated cycle lanes along the seafront. That doesn't just mean painting white lines in the road. I use Devonshire Place today on my bike. It just puts you in the pathway of opening car doors. Not everyone has a mirror. You don't have a mirror when you're sitting in the back of the car when you're opening a car door, and sometimes just painting lines on a white road or just using a pathway to say this is shared space isn't always the way forward. I know this paper isn't looking at the detail, and it depends whether the council wants to take this forward. If it's approved, there will be more detail to come later on. But my concerns are, when we have airborne, it's busy. You won't be able to cycle on there. You wouldn't get a load of cycle on there, there's too many people. But it's actually the quieter times. It's those quieter times when it's not quite so busy, and you've got people hacking through there, and I'm afraid there are some cyclists, and you're quite right. There are bad pedestrians, there are bad cyclists, there are bad motorists. But we've got to think of it as a strategy for everyone in Eastbourne. And I think there are other ways of going about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Peabody. Councillor Rorahan.
Evening. I am an occasional cyclist. It's become more and more occasional in recent years, but I am somebody who walks regularly down the seafront. And I do have reservations about the cycle path. However, I'd like to remind people of what we're voting on tonight. We're voting on giving the experts in the county council the opportunity to look at the area and to see if they think that they can put together a cycle path that is safe for all. And I'm looking forward to the county council doing that work, and I will reserve my judgment until I see what they come up with.
Thank you very much, Councillor Rorahan. Can I take anybody else?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I hadn't intended to speak, but obviously the members opposite are proposing this haven't decided what they're going to say yet. Let me say straight away, I am not opposed to cycling. In fact, I think, as most people have said tonight, and especially speakers, it is something that, for health and all the rest of it, I love to see people out cycling. However, we do have, and it is a small minority, as always in everything, there's a small minority who make things bad for the majority. As my colleague Councillor Baker has said, this afternoon we were out on the seafront on the pond, and a gentleman, elderly gentleman with his, I see with his granddaughter, going along, the cyclist just came straight behind. She, as being a child, she just stopped and turned around, which they do, and bang, very, very near him, and the cyclist had to really move very quickly out of the way or slam his brakes on. And he wasn't going fast. You get people with dogs with their leaves that extend, you're opening up to problems. Quite often, my wife and I go for early morning walks on the prom. And I'm sorry to say that it is that small minority, and it's not like allowance, as they're called, that come along there at health level, and the language, when they're trying to tell you to get out of the way, is appalling. But, I'm sure somewhere along the line, we can get the message across to them. If If we want safe cycling and safe walking, it has to be done together. Question I'd really like to ask. On paragraph 1.8 in the report on page 3, it tells us that, as stated above the previous reports, the amendments to the bylaw will enable the council to permit and control cycling. Well, actually, you've got that authority at the moment. There is a no cycling area along the prom, the one that you want cycling up. It says quite clearly, no cycling. You don't enforce it, you don't control it. What difference is lifting the bylaw going to make? Because if you're not controlling it now, you're not going to control it in the future. We've done that. You know, it's been said about we're just starting the consultation or the ideas on the seafront strategy. I would have thought it would have been much better to await the outcome of all the consultations we're going to do on that particular strategy, and then come together with a proper, integrated cycle and walking strategy, which we're supposed to be doing together. We need to have one and the other together. You cannot have two separate ideas, because if you put this cycling strategy, by lifting the bylaw, you put that in place, effectively what you're saying to pedestrians is, sorry, you don't count. Well, fortunately, they do count, and they need to be taken account of. We need a proper, integrated, thought-out strategy. I hope that the members opposite will listen, and that they will actually defer this until such time as a full, integrated strategy with a seafront plan comes together.
Thank you very much, Councillor Jenkins. Councillor Paynter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As you know, I don't have to tell anybody that I think it would be wrong to lift this bylaw. I think what happens is, and it was mentioned that it goes on from here, but this is the very last opportunity this council has, as a full council, to vote on whether we keep the bylaw or whether we, as Councillor Rowland suggested, goes to the county for the experts to look into it. In my view, we need to stop it now. Can I say that I feel that Eastbourne, the Eastbourne environment, if you like, and it's quite right, we down the seafront. I've asked, must be at least 4 or 5 couples that are walking along and asked them about it. Yeah, in fact, none of them came from Eastbourne. But they thought it was wonderful to be able, as visitors, to be able to walk along the seafront without any problems. One couple did have a problem with that, but what we're implementing here, in some ways, is a massive change to the environment of Eastbourne. And I'm sure Eastbournians that are here, perhaps from birth, I've been here 35 years, and I've always considered that Eastbourne has an absolutely fantastic seafront environment, which is going to change. This is town changing completely. You will not easily get this situation back again. It's true in some ways that we have people that ignore the bylaw as it stands. And somebody said to me, well, it doesn't matter, there's not many people that cycle on the promenade anyway. But of course, you know, 80% or 90% of the people are law-abiding citizens and do not cycle on our promenade. The message goes out as soon as we lift this bylaw, and it already has actually. People quoted to me, it doesn't matter, the bylaw is going to be lifted. And so we can cycle anywhere. I have to admit, many years ago now that I was a cabinet member responsible for amenities, and there was a section of cycle route that went from Fisherman's Green, round Splash Point, to the Healy Bench. It was there. Suddenly, there was a major problem with children coming out of Treasure Island and the number of people on the promenade just in that section. and so it had to be lifted. If you go along there, you'll see a line that was segregated, and the cyclists were extremely rude to people, anybody, whether you're a 3-year-old child or a mother pushing a pram or whatever, very rude if they happen to be verging on their space. I think, Madam Mayor, this is actually such a major situation. And again, we've had in the past thoughts about Latimer Road. If someone wants to come from the harbour, you can actually go down Watling Road. You go to where White Light Laundry used to be, who pay £30,000 for a cycle bridge, which is there. If you're ever at the back of Watling Road, you'll see 2 bridges. One's a pedestrian one, and one is a cyclist one. The strategy then was to come down there around the back of the medical centre and go straight up Latimer Road, all the way to Leith Hall. So if you want a nice, comfortable route, that was a suggestion, not by me, but by the experts. And I think that's probably something we should be looking at. I do see, Madam Mayor, I've got a lot of time left, and I would like, and I must admit, I'm calling, Madam Mayor, for a name vote, because I believe this is going to be such a big issue. I want to make sure that we know that who are the councillors and the group, if you like, that are going to push this forward. Last time, it was only myself and one other that voted against it. I would love people to have thought, in actual fact, over the past elections, I've been asking people all the time on the doorstep, what do you feel about it? And it's very negative. They want this bylaw to be kept. Meets Community Association, 60 there, we put it to the vote, Enscard put it to the vote, sorry Madam Mayor, and the same with the Meets panel.
Thank you very much. Councillor Tuck.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to start by congratulating Councillor Blakeburn on his maiden speech in the Council, and on congratulating Councillor Rodahan on his first speech in very many years. I've got to confess I'm somewhat bemused at the fact we're having this debate today, because what we're looking at is a paper that's simply reporting back to us on the CLG deliberations and whether or not they might be prepared to lift the bylaw. We had the discussion on whether we were going to ask them to back in 2014. And on that occasion, as Councillor Taylor has reminded us, there were only 2 people that said no. He was one of them, and I respect his views in that sense. 17 councillors said yes, we should. And in those days, we didn't have 17 councillors on this side of the chamber. Fortunately, things have improved since then. But we didn't have 17 councillors, so simple maths will tell you that actually more Conservative councillors voted in favour of lifting the bylaw than voted against it. And it was indeed on the Conservative side a 3-way split. That's not necessarily so surprising. Of course, we consulted with the public of the town, and the result of that was that closer than the result of the Scottish referendum. 53% of people said that they wanted the bylaw lifted, 47% said they didn't, and I respect all of the different reasoning behind that and the different views that come forward. I think it's been made very clear by past speakers that cyclists, pedestrians and drivers can all be inconsiderate. And they can be inconsiderate whether there are bylaws in place or not. And I think that Councillor Blaker has demonstrated that very well earlier this evening when he said there was almost an accident on the promenade. Well, that cyclist shouldn't have been on the promenade. And that's when there's a bylaw in place. Actually lifting the bylaw and actually providing some sort of way and recognising where cyclists should be and directing them in that order, I think makes actually a lot more sense. I'm, like Councillor Rodahan, an occasional cyclist these days, as I'm waiting for a knee replacement. More often I'm a pedestrian or a driver. But when I was a cyclist, I got knocked off my bike twice. Once was along the seafront by Howard Square. I was riding along Howard Square and a car came out of there, not looking where it was going, and knocked me blind. Fortunately, I'm here to tell the tale. So I recognise the dangers to cyclists of the motorist and the accidents that can be caused, the tragedies that can result from that. What we're looking at though tonight is DCLG saying to us, they are prepared to lift the bylaw. Does that mean there'll be a free-for-all tomorrow morning? No, it doesn't. It means that they will go into a period of public consultation. Public will have an opportunity to make their views known to DCLG. DCLG will come back and say, yes, we're still prepared to do this or not, as they see fit. If they say they are prepared to do that, then it moves to the East Sussex County Council, who have already been involved. They're the highways expert, I'm not. I wouldn't dare to tell you what I think is or isn't safe, because I'm not a highways professional. But what we would be doing is asking the county council officers to come up with a safe scheme. If they come back and say, we can't find a safe scheme, then I'd take that very, very seriously. But if they come back and say, we have found a safe scheme, and this is what it is, I think that it's incumbent upon us to put that in place and to provide as much monitoring of that as is possible. As I say, you can have bylaws in place, but people will flout them. Actually removing the bylaw and putting some controls in place, I believe makes far more sense. And I would ask Council tonight to vote in favour of the recommendation. Happy to support Councillor Taylor in his request for a name vote. We had one before. Not sure if it's a way of whipping the Conservative group into order or not, but whatever it is, I'm happy to support it.
Madam, just a point of clarification. Councillor Tutt did mention that after the consultation, it wouldn't come back to here.
After the consultation, if DCLG say they're still happy to do that, it would pass to the County Council, and the County Council would finalise the plans. Actually, they've got embryonic plans, and all of embryonic plans at the moment, and it would be their highways professionals who would come back and say this is what we believe there should be. And my understanding, and the officers will either agree or disagree with me, is that we will have the opportunity at that time to say whether or not we wish to implement those.
You can.
To Eastbourne Borough Council.
Council, okay.
Councillors.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm one of the new councillors, and since Councillor Tutt refers to a decision in 2014, clearly a lot of us have come to this issue with a fresh pair of eyes. Much of the promenade is in Meads, so it won't surprise you that the Meads councillors unanimously oppose the amendment of the bylaw. As Councillor Taylor has indicated, the Meads Community Association has voted unanimously to preserve the bylaw. The overwhelming majority of residents in Meads wish to preserve the bylaw, so if the wishes of Meads were decisive, the bylaw would not be amended, wherefore level democracy. We are not against cycling. For the greater part of the Meads Seafront, cyclists have the choice between the road, which most choose, and the pavement. The seafront roads are frequently closed for cycling and other events. But the residents of Meads are not the only ones to recognise the paramount importance of the promenades in defining the unique ambience of Eastbourne, and I think that's what we're talking about, the unique ambience of Eastbourne. You have read the arguments in the many well-written representations and letters which we've all received, and I won't repeat them here. But our colleague, Councillor Bannister, the Cabinet Member for Tourism, is quoted as saying that the seafront is arguably the town's greatest asset for the enjoyment of residents and attracting tourists, and is a major contributor. How right she is. But don't put an already crowded promenade at risk. Don't risk asphyxiating the goose that lays the golden egg. Her comment was made in the context of launching a consultation on the draft seafront plan for the next 20 years, a long-term plan. Surely it is illogical, as several of my colleagues have pointed out, to preempt this by amending the bylaw. When asked, our Director of Tourism confirmed to me that to permit cycling on the promenade is on balance negative for tourism. Yes, promoting cycling, but not at any cost. Route 3, which I've seen, is only a small and non-essential part of proposed cycling improvements. Both Councillors Rodahan and Tutt are prepared to put far more faith than I am in the so-called experts at the County Council.
We only have to look, I presume they may be responsible for the road markings around the Borough roundabout. A committee of this council rightly turned down a temporary application for joyrides on the piers. But unless the council rejects this amendment, we will be powerless to stop joyriding on several miles of promenade for years to come. At the end, it is a matter of judgment. There are a small number of people, perhaps a large number of people, who would actually take the opportunity of cycling on this very short piece of promenade in question. But there's a whole much larger number of people who would be adversely affected by it. That is a matter of judgment. And I encourage independent-minded councillors not to let the genie out of the bottle. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Wallace?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Well done. Thank you, Madam Mayor, and also thank you to the public speakers this evening and all those members who've made a contribution, especially those new councillors. My only line is, who will get cyclists in Eastbourne? No, you're on the road, you take your life in your hands. You're in a promenade, on the pavement, and nobody wants you there. That's probably why we only have 11% of people cycling in Eastbourne, when towns like Cambridge has 55%. So we are miles behind. We are a flat town, remember, we are geared up for cycling. In many meetings I've had previously, we've talked about the environment in Eastbourne. We discussed congestion, we discussed the quality air. So we're always looking at ways to improve our environment in Eastbourne and getting people out of cars and to alternative modes of transport has to be right up there. And this is why we're pursuing this. As far as this strategy is concerned, this is long overdue. I mean, we've been discussing this for a number of years now. This hasn't been hoisted on anybody. This yellow paper is the latest in a long string of documents we've produced, going right back to cabinet reports or to full council meetings. We are looking at the cycle strategy because we recognise the need. And it's interesting how people always talk about safety. Safety of people when involved with cyclists. 19,000 people in the UK a year are either killed or seriously injured while cycling on the road. 10% of children. Is that what we're looking at? No one's mentioned that this evening. And in Eastbourne alone, over a five-year period, 535 pedestrians were involved in accidents with cars. Over that same period, just 9 pedestrians were involved in accidents with cyclists. So if you're concerned about safety, you're looking at coming at the wrong angle. And safety along the promenade, there's already been a safety order 1, safety order 2, there will be additional safety orders before any cycle route is implemented. And just for clarity, we're talking between the Wish Tower and Fisherman's Green, so most of this route is in Devonshire, not Leeds. And I've not had a lot of opposition, in fact I've had no opposition from any of my residents. It wasn't raised and also been in local elections either. So I'm not sure, I know where the opposition comes from. I live in Leeds, so I know where it's coming from. So we need to, if you're looking at safety, let's look at safety of cyclists then, and look at safety of pedestrians on the promenade. Now it stands to reason, doesn't it, that no one's going to be cycling along the promenade during the height of summer. If you're a cyclist, surely you would dismount, wouldn't you? You would go ploughing into people, it's not in their interest. And in those dark winter nights, or in, 7 o'clock in the morning in January, there's no one on the promenade. Are we seriously saying that people trying to get to work can't use it for cycling? It doesn't mean left empty? It's absolutely bonkers. We've got to move this on. We have been talking about this in my mind for far too long. As I said, this is a procedural paper. We've got to give approval this evening, I hope we do. It goes back to DCLG. There will then be a 28-day consultation following this meeting, where again, anybody who's welcome to make a contribution. And then hopefully we can move this forward. But as I stress, East Sussex County Council have already had lots of consultation, including with disability groups, will be responsible for the design and the implementation of this route. And we await to see what their findings are. But I really would urge members, new members, old members, whatever, I respect all your views. We are a flat town. We have a tiny majority of people cycling. We've got to increase that. It's as simple as that. And if we can look at introducing new routes, as long as all the safety measures are in place, then we must do so. We're not a Victorian town anymore. Maybe we didn't build a Victorian town, but this is 2015. There's an awful lot of cars out there, and an awful lot of people on the cycle. We've just have to be tolerant and aware of each other, and we'll get by without any collisions. Thank you.
Would anybody else like to make any further comments? We're going to take it to a vote now, and I understand it's going to be a named vote. Yes, the democracy officer is now going to conduct the vote.
I believe we already have a proposal from Councillor Taylor, seconded by Councillor Jones around votes. So I'm going to read out names in turn, and please could you answer clearly whether you're for, against, or you abstain on the recommendations in the report. I'll start with the Mayor.
Abstain.
Councillor Bannister.
For.
Councillor Belsey.
Against.
Councillor Blakeborough.
Against.
Councillor Chowdhury.
Yes.
Councillor Di Caro.
Against?
Councillor Dow.
For.
Councillor Freeman.
Against.
Councillor Hearn.
For.
Councillor Jenkins.
Against.
Councillor Mattock.
For.
Councillor Mear.
For.
Councillor Murdoch.
Against.
Councillor Rodahan.
For.
Councillor Savary.
For.
Councillor Salisbury.
For.
Councillor Shuttleworth.
For.
Councillor Smart.
Against.
Councillor Swansbury. Councillor Taylor.
Against.
Councillor Tester.
For.
Councillor Tutt.
For.
Councillor Ungar.
For.
Councillor Wallace.
For.
Madam Mayor, that's carried by 15 votes to 8 with 1 abstention.
Thank you very much indeed.